Welcome to the Career Pathways Podcast. I am the current host, Jayson Nichols. You may be noticing that Pat isn't here with us. Don't worry, nothing bad happened, we promise.
I'm here.
Yeah, he's doing the producer. He's doing the producer role for this one because this is kind of a very special episode for us. So we have here today with you Luke Johnson.
Hey guys.
And then we also have a special guest, Noah.
Hey.
And so basically, we are going to be doing a interview of our current director of esports. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Luke Johnson. I'm getting to that part where a lot of the things I've done around the community, the people that I've been around is actually helping me do more and more. That's why I'm able to do this role this year. It's because I have a good foundation to work on.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about like your upbringing. Like where are you from originally?
Oh my goodness, not Batesville.
Okay.
All right. So my upbringing was a small town named Clarendon, Arkansas, and that is how you say it. So if you're thinking back at home how to say that, it is Clarendon. I actually have a funny story about that. When they were building the Great Bridge to Clarendon, they used to have signs for bridges back then. It would say "Clear and Done." Now they would say it so fast that they said that that's how the name of the town was founded. So, fun fact. Is it true? Maybe not. So maybe not a fun fact, but a funny story.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about like esports?
Whew. Now that's a loaded thing, especially around here in Arkansas. So esports depending on who you talk to,
mm-hmm.
and the serious, like how serious it is in the conversation. Around here, esports is fairly new, and it's been something that the community around here has been struggling to get the ball rolling on because it's so new. And change is hard, especially when it's a new change, something that you can't compare it to. So esports, to me, is a opportunity for students and people to be represented in a skill that they feel confident in and that they probably haven't been supported in some type of format.
So going off of that, what would you like put under esports? Like what falls under that category really?
Esports is really about the competitive play of a game. One example, if I want to do a retro game, was when Donkey Kong and Pac-Man were so big and everybody was trying to get to the leaderboard. Even though it's a single player or it's just a one-on-one thing, everybody had that competition. There was a thrill behind it to
mm-hmm.
see who was best, who was first.
Mm-hmm.
And there was awards, tournaments, and it got a following.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be one of the new games like Rocket League or League of Legends or Overwatch 2. It doesn't have to be a new game. It's that competitive drive to be good at something you care about.
Yeah. What's currently like in your opinion, what do you think is like the biggest esports game currently?
Ooh, in my opinion, as a person that supports gaming but is not good at it. All right, I'll do that. I think one of the biggest, I would say, competitive wise and like supported by lots of companies is probably, from what I've seen, League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
And people like brag about it, like watching it like it's like a actual competitive like physical sport, and they're like they plan who's going to coach, plan who's going to sponsor. So I think that's pretty unique, and I thought that's what drove me to start looking into the professional gameplay. I was like, what's the big deal? Why does this seem so serious compared to all the other ones? And I learned it was about difficulty. I was learning about team driven. It changes it once it's a team driven sport.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that. So in my opinion, it would have to be League of Legends.
What really got you like into like gaming to begin with?
Gaming as in like personal gaming, or
just like
teaching?
Video games. Like start off like with the origins of like why you got interested in video games.
So this might be bad, but I did it because of my friends. I was so bad at the video games, and I was the guy they would always like, "Can you beat him? All right, then you can play this guy." I was always the first guy, and it made me so mad. But all my friends played the game, so I had to, and it was a cool way to hang out with everybody. I eventually got good by proxy. So when I would play someone else, they're like, "You're pretty good." I was like, "Oh, it's because all my friends are just super mean and they just like mollywop me. It's horrible." So that's what got me into it was my friends because it's like, "Can you hang with us?" I was like, "I'll try my best." But that's basically what got me into it. It was the friends that I had around.
And so with esports in general, speaking about just in Lyon, how do you manage to support and grow this from what it is now?
I would have to say I definitely couldn't do it if it wasn't the people that were in the program. If I didn't have the support I had of people that care about the program to make it get bigger, it would be a club, but it's going to be so much more.
And what separates just a club from an esports organization in general?
Drive. Drive does. Passion, drive, and actually just the difficulty. There's difficulty in growth, but if that scares you away, you won't grow. So I think that's what's the difference. You don't care if you want a club to grow, but you don't need it to grow. I need esports to grow because that's going to be a connection for a student that they've never had before. So there's a need for it.
We do something not because it's easy, but because it's hard.
Cool.
JFK. We choose to go to the moon. Speaking of crazy things, so in today's society, video games are really popular and like people consider them to be almost a sport at this point. So in your opinion, as like an esports director, do you think that esports should be governed by like the NCAA and like the top dog like sports of college, or do you think there should be a different, like it should be its own separate thing?
This one's a tough question, but I've been through a lot with this on both sides, and I can see coming from the high school and the college, I see both sides. And I'm going to say if we're going to be sanctioned by anything, we need the support from it. And that's what and that's where the issue comes in. Because if we get regulated, we won't get the support, at least on the high school level.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're doing. It's getting better, but because it's new, it's hard to do that. So I think eventually the hard decision is going to be made that it needs to be its own thing. But right now, because of it's easy to make it connected with it, then that's what we should do. I think we're just going to have to deal with the hard step.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the NCAA too that's really interesting is the NCAA is very strict, and that's why I think video games or people who are like in video game like in college teams I think would kind of be opposed to it, because up until like literally like 2 years ago you couldn't even make content if you were part of the NCAA, and like video games like 30, 40, 50% of people, they produce some sort of content from it,
Yeah.
and like how do you balance that with video games, I think. But that restriction doesn't exist anymore, so it makes you think like if the NCAA would consider doing it, like how would they what would they lift and what would they keep?
Lots of hoops. I know what you're talking about. I get what you're saying. It's just that difficulty is always going to be there because it's just the way that the money was made out of it.
Yep.
And it's for some people, if they want to do it as a passion, that passion has to, if that's all they do, it has to fuel some kind of economic need.
So tell us a little bit about Lyon's Esports. So does Lyon give out scholarships for our esports program currently?
So scholarships, that has to, delving into scholarships is more of a difficult role for me, because the scholarships that I would give, I would have to have a good basis first. Right now we have work study. Work study is the most concrete and solid thing I could hand out, but we had to show them what they're working with in order for us to get a scholarship, a sound scholarship, because it would be very wrong if I offered Noah a scholarship and he started depending on that scholarship and then not being able to give it to him again as a provider and as a program, as a head of a program. I would have to make sure it's very solid before I can dish that out. So that's why the scholarship isn't there yet, but it's a hope that I have. Okay. But we got to have something to back it up for the need.
Yeah.
So how would you convince other people that being in esports isn't just playing video games? and that's all you do?
They should come to one of our officer meetings and try to plan a meeting and then tell me if it's just playing video games. They should try to get really busy college students to sign up for a program, pick a time, and then compete, and then be well rested, and then do well academically, and then tell me it's just playing video games. And if they do, that's awesome. But we gotta be realistic here, and the realism is we're students here, and I'm here to provide you on a roadmap to succeeding that goal too.
Yeah. What are some of the like benefits for like a student if they wanted to get into the esports program?
Benefits? Well, there's a lot of them. I'm gonna just tell you the blatant ones or the ones that are right there and evident. You will have access to the esports room, and during certain times if the Mac's ever busy and stuff like that. So you have a source. It's a good studying room as well. We have 2 students that currently go in there studying. So you get the facilities. You also get connections, but that's like not just right there in your face, but you'll have someone in the similar path and program as you, always around you, and you always ask for help. Actually, Noah, if I remember correctly, didn't you get help in your art class from Sam?
Yeah.
All right. See,
Yeah.
so there's stuff there that's like kind of the hidden stuff, but the more obvious stuff is like the connection, and if you've been around me or talked to me, the connections mean more to me. The connections that we make in esports. The first time I started the program, I got whatever guys I had at the beginning, whatever students, and I took you guys out to eat because I wanted you guys to know who I am and what I want to do for you guys. It's the connection for me that really helps.
Yeah. So going off of like from the college's perspective, like a college at a college level, what are some of the benefits to a college like Lyon having an esports program, like to the college itself?
Oh my goodness. If you don't, you'll get behind the times because it's getting so popular. Like right now, me and 2 other colleges in Arkansas are trying to start being the representation for Arkansas because we don't have that like all the other states. Now, keep in mind we have kind of like a not a handicap, but we have something going against us. Our population is not as dense as all these other states. So we have that against us. But we can't let that be an excuse for long, right? That's like saying an excuse of not having a certain athletic team. We don't have enough people. That didn't stop us from having a football team, right? So,
yeah, I think because of the area, I think too, it's like eventually, you know, like how many people around here? I see like tons of people playing video games. It's not like there's a lack of people playing, especially games that are competitive. Like I guarantee if we surveyed Lyon, there'd be at least 50% of the people would be playing some sort of game that's competitive, you know, on campus. So
I think it really has to come from the root that we're turning something that a lot of people see as recreational, into making it competitive. Because whenever you do something and you make it to where the whole world sees it, that's a little different. Like I like working out. Now I don't post that online, you know, I'm not the best person at working out. So that's what I think a lot of people are worried about. They're like, how good am I? I think that's one of the most common questions we get at the high school and college level, or response like, why don't you play? I'm not good enough. That's 100% the reason. But these are also the type of people that feel like they're not good at other things as well. I think it's time that we start making people feel like they're good enough.
So how would you like get that first initial step for those students then?
Honestly, they need to see us being enough, and they need to see our happiness and our connection, and then they're going to say, hey, what's that? I want that. What are they doing in there? Who's this group that keeps on throwing these Madden tournaments and stuff? Like, who are they? And we tell them, and you want to be a part of that. You want to be in the room where it happened.
Yeah. So you also run like the local high school, as you said. From the local high school esports program, what's kind of the big differences? Like, is it harder to really kind of get the older students to work, or is it harder for the younger students to work? Like, which program's more challenging, you would say?
More challenge. I wouldn't say one's more challenging than the other. I would say I think I'm getting it at different years. Like I'm trying to have high standards for this college level, and it's going to be like the first time they were pushed like this, or it's the first time we're doing new things. So this kind of actually reminds me of my first year at the high school level. It's going to be difficult building a program, starting from what I call scratch is difficult, and they're just at different time periods. The reason why I'm able to be here and help as much as I could is because the high school is, I have seniors, I have juniors that really care about the program and they want to help and see their fellow classmates do well. And I want that passion from you guys, but it's not something that happens overnight. And actually, it's not something that happens in a semester. It takes years.
Mm-hmm.
It takes months. It takes years.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see the esports program, like, let's just say, like, in the future, like 5 years from now? Do you see it being very big, successful, or do you see it kind of like just do you see a growth, do you think?
The esports program is going to be, if it's going to be somewhere else, it's going to be here too. Mm-hmm. And the fact is, it has so much untapped potential.
Mm-hmm.
If the esports program, I don't see it not growing. Like, it has to.
Mm-hmm.
It has to, because it's going to grow everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a question that colleges are going to be asked now. Not only, hey, where's the access to studies? Where can I get some additional help? What is your facilities like this? Do you have a facilities for your esports department?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know, like, some of the more, like, prestigious schools, there's been petitions and they won't even do clubs for it because they're looking at it like by a perspective of, oh, we don't want that associated with our campus. But I feel like people have, like, the wrong way of looking at it, you know?
That's probably the perception of recreational. Like,
mm-hmm.
we're not. A lot of people don't even know that we go against other schools.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that we play against people that are
mm-hmm.
highly ranked.
Mm-hmm.
But those are also people that don't understand that that's the way you get better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, wouldn't it be cool if I was a track star football athlete and I could get someone on the phone and have a practice with who did we play recently? Top 100?
Oh, our team? We
Yes.
played the second best team in this state country.
Yeah. So we did that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that kind of potential, but you don't hear about that either.
Mm-hmm.
Because people that do these kind of things, they don't brag about it because people don't know what we're bragging about. I think we need to start bragging more. I think we need to start being proud of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a disconnect between generations that causes that not really want to change the esports?
I don't think it's a disconnect. I don't think we're representing ourselves as well as we need to. If I'm talking as the younger generation,
mm-hmm.
even though sometimes I feel old, or if you ask the right student, I might be old. But I think we're not representing, and I don't think we're showing them how much effort we put into stuff. Because if you ask someone that streams or does something like this, they'll think it's easy. It's not easy. Putting in work like this is not easy. They have to see how much work we're doing. Mm-hmm. One time, I had an admin higher up, this whatever you're thinking, bloop, there it is. They didn't know what we did. I was like, come follow me, shadow me, see what we do. And they're like, did that kid do all that by themselves? I was like, yes. And that's the first part. And you've seen it. You're there. You've seen the high school. And you guys are in the esports room. You guys know what goes on. Mm-hmm. But you have to see it to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have to see it. And we're not doing a good enough job showing them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Do you think, like, so we kind of talked about, like, the NCAA, like, with the streaming stuff, but do you think that, like, programs should offer some, like, support in streaming and in video production when it comes to video games?
So when it comes to that, because we're so new to this, like, I've been doing esports for a while, but I'm still new because I don't consider myself a professional, so I'm still new. I will do that because I'm learning it with you,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if we get high enough and good enough, we are going to need that to be separated so we can do it well.
Yeah.
That's like if I had all my students practicing a game, but they're different games, it wouldn't make sense. We need to spread out and specialize.
Yep.
So we need to specialize if we want to get absolutely good. Right now, we're doing it to do it well. But if we want to be excellent in it, we have to specialize in it.
Yeah, so like what are like some of the biggest like careers that people get out of like esports? Like people who like actually become big and get into esports teams and stuff like that. Like I'm talking like the big dogs. Like is that a viable career for somebody? Could if somebody tries hard enough, could they go down that path?
If you try hard enough in anything, you can find a career in it. You just need to know how to manage yourself as a human, because sometimes we get distracted. Sometimes we get sluggish. You need to know how to manage yourself. So self-management is hard, but that's normally what people do when they're up and coming streamers or competitive players. You got to manage yourself.
Mhm.
That's an adult level skill. And that's hard to teach. I can't say I'm perfect at it right now, but like I'm doing my best. So not only do you have to do that, but like it's a new field, and you'll find that normally new fields are harder to get in unless you do most of the work by yourself.
Mhm.
And it's sad to say that. And I'll help my students as much as I can, and the fellow students will help each other out. But like a lot of it's going to be you, because when you're streaming, who's in the room with you? It's you setting all the equipment, you applying to go into a competitive league. It's going to be you, because a lot of responsibility is going to have to go into
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
That's the issue with it.
So like if somebody for like let's just say like bringing it down to like a kind of realistic like for people who want to get into video games, would you say that creating video games is like one of the best for people who are that like interested in it?
Okay.
Is do you think like that's like the best career path for it? Or what do you think is like the best career path for somebody that's so into video games like that?
The competitive play or video games as a whole?
Just as a whole, honestly.
As a whole, well, you got to really find out who you are as a person as
Mhm.
well. And that's a loaded statement, because that's like, who are you? But like, you got to think about it like, are you a creative person? So I know lots of people I would consider them creative. Now, time management skills and stuff like that, I'd recommend them. Okay, so you need to know what deadlines are. Because if you're gonna make something, you have to have it made at a certain time.
Mhm.
You have to know about quality versus quantity and all this stuff. So you really have to. It's a hard question to answer because it depends on who you are.
Mhm.
If you can put in the work, you're like, if I show up and do my best, that's what I want. Then that's where competitive streaming will come into play. If you can, but the creativeness, that is where making it comes into it. If I had to say, and I had friends that done it in college, and they fit the creative type, and they went down the creative path.
Mhm.
So, just from experience, that's what I've seen.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a very personal question for me, and then Noah's got a very loaded question for you. Don't worry. But
Oh, great.
but this is kind of just a really small niche one because this kind of pertains to me. Do you see like from esports? Do you see like solo games being very competitive? Like you were talking about Donkey Kong and Pac-Man, but like I'm talking about like speed running. Do you see like speed running as like a competitive play?
I think speedrun. So keep in mind, competitive. That's
Mhm.
what it was, right?
Yeah.
It was solo. It was just me getting a
Mhm.
higher score, and then that's that.
Mhm.
Don't you get a title for having
Yeah.
the fastest time?
Yeah.
So you're competing for a title.
But would you see it at like like in an esports program? Could you see that being like something that it would offer?
In an esports program. So what would make it easier is if there was an event
Mhm.
that gets backed,
Mhm.
and then that is supported a lot.
Yeah.
And the difficulty with that is they're so long and dragged out.
Yeah.
So it really depends on
True.
the game. So the game really dictates that, and that's why there's so much variation into competitive play when it comes to esports.
Mhm.
That's why when I say esports, a lot of people don't know how many games we play. Like, I get called the esports guy instead of the Rocket League esports guy, the League of Legends esports guy, the Overwatch 2 guy. Maybe it's because it's a mouthful, but there's just too many niche categories.
Yeah. And for everybody who's wondering, because we have some people who probably need this clarification, speedrunning is basically trying to compete and play a game as fast as possible and beat it. So there's certain rules about certain games,
Right.
but essentially you start from the beginning and go to the end. You put a timer on, and whatever that time is, and you put it on a leaderboard.
Now watch Mr. Johnson try to do a speed run, and it takes 48 hours. That's
Well, like people can do like the original Mario Bros. Like they can do the original Mario Bros. In like 5 minutes.
oh my goodness.
It's like 4.55. It's actually like the fastest time possible by a human. Like they've hit it. But like a game that I was really into was like Super Mario 64, like that early or late 90s Mario games. Those are the 3D ones, the really clunky ones. They're so fun. But that's almost in getting to the point where it's inhuman now too, because like people are finding things that are just like I couldn't even do that if I had 30 hours to try and do it once, you know, and these guys are doing it every time.
The only time I've seen speed runs or watched them is when I like would think about how crazy it is that a human is doing this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, is this
Like
AI?
Elden Ring.
Oh my goodness.
Like the game takes like 100 hours probably to play through.
Unless
and
you're me.
Yeah.
200 hours, something like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But like seeing them do that is like the dedication.
insane.
And if you put dedication to it, but that's mostly streamed. That's like how they found that medium.
Yeah. There has been a couple tournaments. Like I know they really were trying to push for it to be like, we have these big events that we're gonna go all around the United States, but like they didn't get popular. It's kind of sad, but you know.
It needs that backing.
It does, yeah.
They need to see the effort.
That's why I was saying it maybe like at a collegiate level, you know, if they had like a college level organization backing it, it would get a bunch of people interested in it, you know, maybe. And bring schools to these events and stuff like that. I think it could be interesting.
It actually like blows my mind that people will do something like thousands of times just to do something like 2 seconds faster.
Literally.
Like you barely improve at all, and it's just it's so much dedication.
There was one in Mario. I swear, I'm not even kidding. It would literally take me, if I actually tried to do it, I could probably sit there for 100 hours and not even get it once. And these guys will sit on stream. I watched the guy's I think his name was like Simply. His name's just Simply. He's a streamer. He seriously sat there on stream. The stream hit 48 hours. He was doing it. Just the only thing he was doing for 48 hours straight with just bathroom breaks and eating every like hour or two, you know. Like it's insane. Like the dedication that goes into something like that. It's a test of skill.
What you were willing to do to be the best of that thing.
Yeah. It's and I mean, and then you have like 5,000, 10,000 people trying to do it too, and it's like you're fighting against all these other people that are spending 48 hours as well doing it. It's like, what the heck?
Basically, something is as important as you make it, right? So if you get a backing and then you make something important, it'll be important.
Do you think that type of dedication, like, do you think that translates really well? Like, for somebody who has, like, a skill, like, that they spend a lot of hours dedicated to something like speedrunning, do you think that could translate well to, like, another esports game?
Yes, but the issue with being human is associating one passion with another and helping them out. So when it comes to students, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher first. I love seeing the mind develop and people grow. But like I had to realize that if I wanted to be good at something, I would have to put that passion into myself and allow me to grow too. And a lot of that was me saying no, or me saying that this is more important than that and stuff like that. So if you say that I'm good at this, maybe I'll be good at that. You got to know if the passion's there first. You got to know if will I be as passionate in this as I will this. And if you even thought yes, then yes, do it. Because then that if you just work a little harder, you'll be almost equally as good.
Yeah.
With that, do you think that how much did you know about like other games like Rocket League or League of Legends before you started getting really into it?
Oh my goodness. As a science major, I know lots of terminology. But as a gamer, there's also lots of terminology. There's kick, flip, reset. Oh my goodness. Flanking. Sounds like I'm in a military base sometimes.
Call of Duty, man.
The shot calls and the it's just so much. I'm just like, and having to learn so much. I don't think I'm actually, and this may sound bad, I don't think I'm good at the game because I'm so split at knowing all this stuff about every type of game. I may not be like diamond in Rocket League, but I'm probably bronze in every single game. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I just know all this knowledge. And my family's just like, What?
Yeah. No,
My
with
bad.
like Overwatch, like with some of those high end like Overwatch, like in between rounds, like I swear, it's like for people who know like play calling of like football, where they'll go like Jack Scott 245, like that. It's seriously like people say stuff like
Yes.
that for like Overwatch, like to try and regroup, and it's like, what are you saying?
The craziest thing I've seen is like so Noah Noah's on the college level and I teach at the high school level, and there's esports at the high school level, but never seen these guys before. Brought them in. Noah's doing calls and they understand it. I'm like, what? This makes no sense. So it does the communication. We have students that can't even like English is not their first language, but they knew that call, and I'm just like, wow, phenomenal. That's crazy.
Well, let's give Noah a little credit here. I mean, Noah's
Oh.
probably the best Rocket League player like at school, probably.
Oh my goodness, he's also a really good Rocket League coach too.
Yeah. Weren't you number 1 in the world for 10 minutes at 5 a.m.?
Yep.
Yep.
You remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
That's my claim to fame.
That's my claim to fame. I was the best in the world for 10 minutes at 5
But
a.m.
how many people can say that they were the
Literally.
best
Yeah.
in the world?
Yeah.
It's something they love. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, and with how big, I mean, and it's not like video games are, especially Rocket League. It's not like Rocket League's a small game. Like these games have a lot of players, like so like
So many players.
it's insane. Noah, do you actually know how many people are like concurrent on Rocket League? Is that something you know?
I do not, but I know that a while ago there was like 200,000 to 500,000 people
Per
a
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, just per day.
Now, and here's a lot of thing. Well, here's something a lot of people don't know. If you talk into ranks and then think about how many people in your rank, that's when it gets flabbergasting. So, like how many people are in your rank?
I think I checked yesterday. It's 600 people in the whole world.
So, if you think about that, he's played the same person probably more than once.
Oh, I have the same lobby like 5 games in a row.
Can you imagine the frustration that you would have for a single person?
Yeah, and then like when I did like Paladins, which is like a way smaller game, and only has like when I played at its peak, it was only like 25,000 people daily. It's just still a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. But like seriously, when you get in like top 1%, you're like, wait a minute, top 1%, and you think about it, that's top 1% of current players. So you're like one of like maybe like 200 people, not even. And it's like, what the heck, dude?
And then you get like nervous, and then you're worried about retaining
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and then if you don't play, it regresses. So then you're like, no.
I think one thing that we came to discover was taking breaks in video games and in general is actually good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like how long of breaks?
Me and Noah may have different opinions on this. We'll
Yeah.
see. But I would say a week or two. Wouldn't you say a week or two?
I would not.
Longer?
This is for me.
Longer or shorter?
It was shorter.
Like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I take a break.
I took a day break.
So I only played 2 hours today.
I only played 2 hours.
Sometimes I do take like multiple day breaks, but like Rocket League's so mechanical that like if you don't play for 2 days, you can get back and feel like you can't do anything.
That's right. It's like riding a bike. You'll
It's
get it.
not.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, bro.
Oh.
That was like the thing with golf is it's like one of the things when you get good enough at like a sport like
Mhm.
that where it's all mechanics based, you actually have to play like at least once a
yeah.
week because or else
Oh,
you start doing one thing wrong and you're like, wait, what am I doing wrong now? And then you're like,
overthinking, overanalyzing,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
back to the grind.
yep, and then
Yeah.
back to the grind. Yeah, that's what a lot of people like, especially where I come from in like Minnesota. That's what a lot of those outdoor sports is. The problem is these kids they need to actually play like or practice during the winter because that's like 3-4 months, sometimes 5 months where they don't play at all. Like they don't do any type of sports, they don't practice it, and so like that's why they tell you to like they like play pickleball if you're a golf player or play tennis inside because it's the same kind of motion with the wrist and that keeps that mechanics
Muscle
going.
memory and or the
Yeah.
muscles in general.
Yeah, no, it is cool.
So you're running a fan con next month in
Sure
Batesville.
am.
So
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we can promote that up. Oh,
yeah. That's the
That's
thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail.
yeah. Tell us a little bit about the fan con here.
All right. So I have this right here, so I don't I don't mess up the information. But let me just do it in general. So if you are unfamiliar with like Comic Cons or stuff like that, we did one that is a fan con, and we're bringing it to Batesville because a lot of the issues with this exposure for the students and the kids and the community and the families is things are either too far, it's inconvenience, or they haven't been exposed to stuff like this, or the right level, like the friendly stuff that's geared towards a mass. So we decided to bring it to Batesville. So this is the White River Fan Con. So it's a fan con. So it's lots of, whether it be anime, fantasy tabletop play. We have so many guest speakers. We have voice actors for both animation and live action. We have people that have been on The Walking Dead, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We have award-winning authors and cosplayers. And we actually have a voice actress from Disney Channel. And we have a true crime podcaster. And this is like, honestly, to get these type of people in Batesville, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And seeing how much the community is willing to like help out, like both like the locations in the library. The library is a lot bigger. Batesville has one of the nicest libraries.
Yeah, when I went there with you the one day, I was like, whoa, this is insane.
I was like, wow, I was expecting one story. It has 3 stories. So that's crazy. So, and we're just trying to, and it goes, all proceeds go to the library. So it is to help the library with help with from friends at the library. But it's just a really good opportunity for people to get exposed to that kind of like celebrity type feel of someone like has done something.
You guys are also doing like Legos too, aren't you? Like a big Lego thing?
Yes, we're doing a huge Lego section. It's actually by the Esports section. But the Lego section is, there's going to be a little area that is divided up for ages, so not all kids can play with Legos. So we really thought about all the age types. So you have the larger Legos, so to prevent choking hazard, and then it's like gradient of difficulty level. We have I think it's called a Pro Builder, not the one in Fortnite, but like the Lego version. But they're actually going to show you how to free build, where you know instructions, which would drive me insane. I'd be like, so tell me what to do. No, it's all about your imagination. I was like,
and
well,
then
I'm
gonna
build the same thing.
Yeah, 3 blocks together and go, yep, here we go.
But that's crazy. Doing memorabilia that are Lego based, which is really cool. But
yeah,
I'm
like,
excited about that.
Weren't there ones like you could get your name or something like that?
Your name tag. It's like a Lego name tag.
That's kind of cool.
I'm thinking about getting it, but then I'm also thinking like, all my students are going to be there. My wife's going to be there. They're probably going to get one. And every time I think like that, I never get the thing, and I'm just like, oh. So I think I'm going to get 2.
No, I have a kind of love-hate relationship with Legos. I used to be so big in the Star Wars. I tried to do the Star Wars Legos, but I was so young, and my dad, like, we would try to build like the big ones, like the Millennium Falcon and like the Star Destroyers and stuff. And one time we actually sat down one weekend. It took us the whole weekend. I'm not even kidding. We built like the Death Star, and we glued it. And then my sister threw it down our stairs, and it broke. And I was like, literally, you would have never seen me in tears worse than that. That was like top 10 worst moments of my life.
You know they make like a separator now for them. It's in all the Lego boxes. I was like, where is this?
The little orange piece.
Yeah, it's like orange, green, but it's like you can separate them, so you don't have to worry about like breaking your fingernails and stuff.
Really?
Have you seen those? Oh my
What?
God.
They're like little
I wish those
revolutionary.
existed like 10 years
It's
ago.
revolutionary.
It is, bro.
Oh my gosh, the evolution of Legos.
I
I actually watched like a video on like the evolution of Legos. They were like, they used to come like pre-built.
What?
Yeah, like Legos used to come pre-built. Like, so like you would get a structure and it would be built already. Yeah, like that's how, and I think it started in like Denmark or Sweden or something like that.
Goodness. Why couldn't they do that with furniture? Like with like IKEA.
Deliver your
missing-
furniture.
There's a disconnect.
But I never
They got it
understood how
flip-flop.
they packaged it, because some of these things were big, like it was like the house and the family, and it would be like a board. And it's like, okay, how am I walking out of the store with this? But yeah, they were pre-built. I didn't know that. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
I guess it's more fun to
It's
blow
the
your mind.
experience.
Yeah, it's the experience.
It's
there you
experience, and I think that's what they realized.
Maybe we should have like a challenge where like to join the esports program, you gotta like be so concentrated on building something Legos.
Well, let's not do that. I want to be in my own program.
Okay. Finally, if you were to just sell the esports program, like if you were doing like a business pitch, like to get people to join the esports program, what would be your nice business pitch to sell it out?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Have fun doing what you do for fun. and now show people what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Show people how good you are at what you like to do.
I think that's a great way to wrap it up. That's a great thing. Thank you so much, Luke, for coming onto the podcast. Thank you, Noah, for assisting with us. This has been the Career Pathways podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to do all the cool stuff. You can find the podcast almost everywhere. It is literally 99.97% of streaming platforms. As much as bacteria gets killed with the little what's it called? The hand sanitizer.
Awesome.
Yeah, the exact same number. I couldn't believe it. Exact same number. Yep, I did the math. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Peace. This broadcast is sponsored in part by Lyon College and by KILT Studios.